One of the important concept which you need to understand from the perspective of data engineering in SQL is nothing but CTE. CTE stands for Common Table Expressions. They are similar to views, but they are not views. Let's go to the details about CTEs in this lecture. First, let's make sure we use this query. The query is again join between orders and odd items. In some cases, we might have to come up with a very complex query where the same logic is used to join multiple times within the same query. One of the ways to modularize in those scenarios is to use common table expressions or CTEs. The way you can define CTE is like this. You have to start with clause. As part of the with clause, you can specify the name for your query. Let's say order underscore details underscore CTE as the name for the query. Then we have to say as. Then we have to enclose the query in double quotes. Let's make sure the query is enclosed in double quotes. Then we should be able to say select star from order underscore details underscore CTE so that the CTE is used in the main query. In case if we wanted to write a big query where this is used multiple times in the form of joins, we should be able to use this CTE rather than writing this complex join multiple times. Now when it comes to the syntax with respect to CTE, it starts with, then you have to specify the name for the CTE, then as, then you have to specify the definition using which you wanted to create the CTE in double quotes like this. Also, you can have multiple CTEs for the same query. Then you have to use main query after all CTEs. In this case, we have only one CTE. As part of the main query, we are just referring to that CTE. It is same as view, but when it comes to view, the view will be persisted in the database. It means the view definition will be there in the database. Once we restart the session, still we should be able to use the view. Even if we delete the script, the view will still be there in the database. But when it comes to CTE, it is not permanent structure. It will not be stored in the database. There will not be any definition in the database. Every time we have to create the CTE and then use it so that the query run without any issues. That is the main definition between view and CTE. Views persist in database in the form of view definitions, whereas CTEs doesn't persist in the database. In case if we restart the session, then we need to make sure we create CTE in the query which we are going to execute. Now let's make sure we run this to see if it works as expected or not. You can see that it is running as expected. As per the requirements, as we have seen with the tables earlier, we should be able to improvise the queries on top of CTE. The queries will run without any issues. For example, in this case, let's say I would like to get the details with respect to order item order ID 2 or order ID 2. I just have to say where. As part of the where clause, I should be able to say order underscore ID. Then I can say equal to 2. Then I will get the results I am looking for. This will return only the 3 records related to order ID 2. As we have seen with the regular tables, we should be able to perform all standard operations using CTEs as well. The standard operations are nothing but filtering the data, grouping the data based on keys, and then performing the aggregations, filtering based on aggregated results, sorting the data. Even joins will work with CTEs. But unlike views, CTEs will not be persisted in the databases. If we restart the session, then we need to make sure we include even CTE creation logic as part of our queries. But when it comes to the views, the view definitions will be persisted in the database. We don't need to recreate the view once the session is restarted. We can directly start using the views as part of the queries. Also, when it comes to the scope of CTEs, it is only with respect to that query. You cannot create one CTE and use it as part of multiple queries. It will not be possible with CTEs, but with views, you can create view once and you should be able to use view in multiple queries without any issues.